Welcome to Today Matters, our short devotional in the Word of God. And we are in the book of 1 Peter, and we're coming to the end of the book as Peter gives the church some exhortations on how to be Christians when you're faced with suffering or antagonism or just plain difficulty. Peter talks about the importance of having a significant life over just a successful life. And then for a moment, he shifts his focus to church leaders, but this most certainly can be attributed to leadership in general, whether you lead at your work, in your community, on your team, or in your home. These are principles we can take from 1 Peter chapter 5 and make sure that we are implementing these things in our lives. In chapter 5, verse 3, he says this, "Do not be like a ruler over people you are responsible for. But be good examples to them." The point being that if you're taking notes, number 3 is to choose to be an example. Choose to be an example. Anyone who has been in leadership very long understands this principle. You don't make a lasting impact by just telling people what to do, ordering people around all the time. You make a lasting impact by showing people how to do it. Would you agree that the world certainly doesn't need more people telling us what we should be doing right now? Yeah. It needs more people to show us how to do things right, correctly and appropriately. The world needs less talkers and more doers. More people willing to help our communities and less people telling us opposite of what we should be doing. The world, and maybe your place of work, needs more people willing to get the job done and be the example versus talk about it or tell someone else what they should be doing. You know, the Greek word for example that Peter uses here is tupos. Now, it's a word that originally it comes from the idea of a die or a stamp. It's something you would use to make an impression on something to match the original. Now, do you want to leave a mark on this world? Your example is what leaves a mark. Your example, good or bad, is leaving an impression. It's leaving a tupos on people. You want to be a great dad or a great mom? Be a great tupos. Be an example. You want to be a great boss? Be a great example. Do you want to be a great Christian? Be a great example. You ever hear someone say, "Do as I say, not as I do"? That doesn't work, especially as children. Kids might hear that. That happens especially with kids, is that what happens is they're watching what you're doing. You can talk about things all day long, but in the end, they're watching your tupos, your example. They're interested in what you are doing, not even so much in what you're saying. It goes back to what Peter said in the beginning of the epistle. What he was saying was your walk is even more important than your talk. We want to have both match up. Your walkie must match your talkie. But it's even more important that you lead by example than just telling people what to do. I remember as a minor leaguer with the St. Louis Cardinals, I got to hang out with some of these guys that are still in baseball today, including the current manager of the New York Yankees, Joe Girardi. And Joe's a strong Christian. And he had a tremendous example of how he led his family. And at the time, I was a young single man, brand new Christian. And I got to go out to dinner with Joe and his wife and a couple other guys and be able to see how he acted and interacted with his wife and with his family. It absolutely blew me away, the honor and respect that he gave his wife. I hadn't been used to that growing up in my environment. And so to see that as an example meant the world to me. And it helped me understand really what it really means to treat your spouse in a Christian way, to honor, to respect. And I didn't get that from someone just telling it to me. Over time, I watched guys like Joe Girardi lead by example. And that's the key. This is what Peter's trying to tell us as he wraps up his epistle. What he is saying is, it's okay to talk a big talk as long as you can follow it up. But the key is not to have just the talk. He wants to make sure you have the walk. And if you're going to have one or the other, it's preferable to have the walk over the talk.